Welcome back to part 2 of Sunday dinners. So we've had the meal, this is the next day. I'm going to show you what we have left over and what I plan to do with the rest. So there is no pie left over, so that's out of the picture. We have about a half of the roast left. I would say a cup of gravy left. Some of the apples. 4 rolls, and a pretty good size container of the vegetables. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up the roast, and then my plan is to make Philadelphia cheesesteaks for lunch, and then to make beef and noodles, and then beef soup. And we'll see if we can get all of those made with the leftovers. So stay tuned. The leftover portion is coming. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take 1 cup of the chopped up beef and use my little dash cooker and make some little sandwiches. I found these in the pantry. I didn't have any hoagie buns, so I figured these would work. So what we're going to do is on one side, I'm going to kind of wet it so that they'll stick together when I cook it. And on the other side, I'm going to spread it with butter. You could use margarine. Probably don't need quite that much. You get the picture. Okay, got that. Then I'm going to fill them buttered side down because I'm going to put it in the cooker. And so you'll have it like this, and this will be the wet side. And put a little bit of the beef and some provolone cheese that I found in the freezer, and then cook it. The only thing I would caution you is don't overfill these because it'll ooze out of the side and have a mess to clean up afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and cook these, and I'll show you the final product in a minute. See, lunch is finished. I made 2 for my husband, some chips, dip, and while they were cooking I made a little bit of au jus sauce for dipping in them. And then I've got mine, and I still had about 1/3 of a cup of chopped up beef left that I'll add to the beef and noodles, which we'll do next. First though, lunch. We're going to take a look at leftover meal number 2. To the pot, I've added some water, the remainder of the beef juice after we cook the roast. I'm going to put that on the stove, bring it to a boil, add in some egg noodles, add in the beef, add in the gravy after you drain the noodles. We'll come back and take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so let's put the beef and noodles together. The noodles have cooked. I drained them not quite dry. There's still a little bit of liquid in there. I saved the liquid from the draining. You can see it's steaming, it's still hot. So let's add to this probably 1, 2, about 2/3 of the leftover beef. We're going to add also the gravy, and I'm going to mix it until it's the consistency you want. You can add salt, pepper, garlic salt. I like to let this sit and have the flavors mingle a little bit. It looks like it can use just a little bit more broth. And if you don't have any gravy left, you can always go ahead and make up some more. So this is good. You want it kind of loose because those noodles are going to absorb some of that liquid. So what we've got is about 2.5 cups of beef, half a bag of wide noodles, a little bit of the reserve, and the gravy. So I'm going to let that set, then we'll plate this up, and you can see what we've got going on. There are 2 plates here, one for me, one for my husband, and then a to-go tray for my mother. We've used up the leftover rolls and what was left of the stewed apples, and there still is another probably good 2 to 3 servings here. So if you have a bigger family, This is enough for one meal. So that's the way we're going to do beef and noodles. Stay tuned because we're going to do beef soup here in just a second. Okay, now we're going to put together the beef soup. So in a large pot or in the insert of your crock pot if you want to. Go ahead and add whatever beef you had left over. I'm going to add the au jus from the sandwiches earlier today. I've cut the potatoes and the carrots into smaller pieces. I'm just going to add all of the vegetable. And then enough water to cover. If you like your soup thinner, you can add more water. And if you want to boost up the flavor a little bit, I would add some Better Than bouillon. It says a teaspoon for every cup, and it makes 48 cups. So I kind of eyeball it. I'm going to go about that much, since I already have the au jus in there anyway. Then you put this on the stove, let it come up to temperature, and your last meal of the roast is ready. This will make you about, I'd say 4 to 5 cups of soup. So maybe 4 servings, enough left over for a lunch. And it goes well with garlic bread. Or if you want to go to the grocery store, a good tip would be go to the leftover bread aisle where they have it marked down and get a French loaf. Slice that up, butter it, put some garlic salt on it, and you've got some garlic toast to go with it. Or you can buy it. So I'm out of leftovers from the Sunday dinner, and from that we got roast, Philly cheesesteak paninis, beef and noodles, and soup. So the cost per serving of each one of those comes down to $2.75, which isn't bad. Total cost for the meal was $45, but I included the cost of a container of this, and this, like I said, makes 38 servings, and we didn't use hardly any of this. I also had a leftover onion, which is nominal. I only used a half a bag of the white noodles, so you would have a half a bag of that left. The whipped cream, I factored in the cost of a whole can, and you would have about a half a can left after you top the pie. So you're going to have some things, ingredients left over. So, but I factored everything in, and it's about $45. Per serving, I'm just basing on what we eat. You might get more servings than that. I think I calculated kind of on the low end of servings. I bet you could probably go ahead and get at least 20 servings out of that one roast. It might just be one dinner. It might be one dinner and leftovers, depending on how big your family eats and how much they eat. The biggest cost, obviously, was the roast. They've gone up so much in price. It was $15, which is almost unheard of for a roast, and that was on sale. If I hadn't gotten on sale, it probably would have been closer to $20. And it was a 3-pound roast. So is this frugal or is it cheap? This is definitely frugal because you're going to cook once and you're going to eat for the rest of the week, or you've got lunches for the rest of the week. And you don't have to spend your entire week in the kitchen fixing dinner every night, fixing lunches every morning. You've got this all made up and all ready to go. And if you have anything that's left over, put it in little to-go containers and freeze them and take them for lunch, because you might get tired of beef throughout the week. So my question I have for you is, do you meal plan with leftovers in mind? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you would like and subscribe, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything to do. It would really help this channel. So I hope you enjoyed these 2 videos about Sunday dinner. Oops, I almost forgot the most important thing. I'm going to sit down and then tackle those dishes that I dirtied creating the video. Again, like and subscribe.